Okay, so now we're on to air, and we will start with Gemini, and then we'll go Libra and Aquarius. Now, you beautiful air signs, you are sharp, friendly, lighthearted, communicative, and just lovely. I mean, this sign, I am very drawn to air signs. I feel like they're just excellent conversationalists. They just like to talk about everything. Now, let's start with Gemini. So, yours is the rose's kiss, and your dreams need a practical plan. I oftentimes have to instigate this into my daily plan, like, okay, yeah, I have a lot of ideas, I want to do this and that, but let's get some little methodical logic going to how we're going to do this, especially if it's mapped all over the place. You want to be at this store, you want to create this, you want to do something for a family member, all of that. It's just saying, let's get a practical plan and write it down. That oftentimes is how it formulates. Okay, so Gemini, this is saying, the key concept to the rose's kiss is joy, experiencing pleasure, deep satisfaction, enjoyment, desires acknowledged, five sensory reality. So by taking a deep breath and center on the feeling of joy. I try to do this in the morning. I'll look at the first thing that just really tickles my heart, makes me happy. It's usually moonbeams at the back door waiting for food, because it's just the cutest thing. This cat that's not even in our household, that just likes the love and affection of our house, and obviously the flavor of our food over anybody else's because she's waiting for us. I just love that. It gets me in such a good mood. And also just, everybody in their different states of disarray looking for food in the house when I get up, because usually it's a competition between Hagen and India who gets the stove or the croissant or whatever, and they don't like to operate in the same radius, so one has to wait, and it's funny to watch. So can you allow your senses to really awaken and connect with your innate desire to experience all life has to offer, right? Not rushing through. It's almost like if you just choke down a meal while you're driving from A to B. Your palate hasn't even engaged in the taste of anything. It's slowing everything down. And I need to do this as mutable fire. I'm constantly trying to double task, triple task things, and then I miss out on all the beautiful little finite details, because our modern times often present a false ideal of how we are meant to experience the world. Connections are lost and distorted by our over-reliance on technology as well. Just look around and see how few people actually maintain eye contact or engage in conversation. Instead of tapping away at a screen, pause and consider how you can make more intimate contact. I'll do this when the kids come in the room. I will say to my inner self really loud, are you looking at them? Because I am so used to being on screens and doing that. Yeah, I don't like when other people do that to me. So I like, face-to-face contact. So connecting with nature, enjoying the sensual pleasures of just being aware of rain and soil under your feet, the sensations of touch and smell and sight and sound are important. Oftentimes we tune in much more richly and deeply when we're outside. Definitely Gemini, being outside is a big thing. Like, how do your sheets on your bed feel? Can you reach out and feel the heat or softness of the animal next to you? Be present to another person, see them, and let yourself be seen. Stop being distracted. Don't look elsewhere when you're speaking to somebody. Look directly at them. Take deep breaths if you need to. Sometimes I do. I will have a natural knee-jerk horrible reaction to try to finish up that conversation or finish listening, and impatience coming there. And I had to remind myself this today when Hagen was driving, to take breaths and go, you're not in a hurry. You relegated the whole day to this, so you have all day if you want to, and you're just going around and you're just spending time with them and laughing. You're not in a hurry. Like, it was one of those things where I just all of a sudden want him to grasp the concept of the clutch so we could drive and go around in circles. And then after going around in circles, I was getting dizzy, and I was like, I wish we could go back to the clutch. I was literally getting dizzy. But it's like one of those things that have patience. Think how you were when you were driving. If anybody was rushing you or making you feel like there was a time restraint, it's not a good feeling when you're trying to learn something. So just enjoy it, and because it's the first and last time he'll ever be learning each one of these steps, and it's hilarious. So all of that, your five senses are really wanting to be engaged right now. This is an invitation to get out of your head and into your body. One of those things too, I have this cool trigger thing that I can do if I'm getting antsy or I'm not in a good mood, or I feel like I'm really slogging through the day. I'll think of something that I save for later that has me excited. A deck of cards I haven't seen yet, some beads I get to work with, a nice little delicious treat I put away. That gets me in a good mood because it gives me this joyful expectation of having a treat, kind of like a reward later. So do that as well, right? And that is, then we get to experience something fun. And I think by being present in this kind of sensual world, you invite an even deeper spiritual experience. You know, it's time to really stop and smell those roses. Just slow it all down. I participate in the great big hurry, and I still don't know why. I'll take a breath and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And I feel like when I really tap into that is the moment I step outside. I breathe deeper, I slow down, and I even have to bring no devices or something with me for my first go round outside, because I'll be so tapped into starting to work, and then I won't see, you know, the crazy woodchuck that comes out and is looking to see the cats, and then the cats do this. Mochi actually plays tag with this thing. It's crazy. All this stuff goes on, and I miss that if my face isn't a computer screen. So when you see that flower that's beautiful, you know, whether it's in a shop or whatever, stop and pick that flower for yourself and buy that flower and have that beautiful thing, because flowers are a reminder to me personally that beauty is always around us and is free and is natural, and it's a lovely thing to tap into. So that's you guys, Gemini, beautiful energy. Okay, so next we're going to go on to Libras, which it's so funny, and I have very few acquaintances or family members or people that are Libras. My stepfather, Bill, was a Libra, and I've got to say he was the calmest, most accepting person that I've ever met. Just really, I mean, just could drink in a whole bunch of crazy and just be like, okay, let's be even-minded, and let's, you know, just amazing. Libras are, again, super sharp. They're great and excellent authors for sure. They communicate beautifully as well. So into me, I see, this is one of my favorite cards. Just, I love that phrase. It's so simple and it's gorgeous. It is just so ethereal and beautiful. So the key concepts for you guys, Libra, is intimacy, trust in another, dropping shields and rigid boundaries to allow for connection, and the willingness to be vulnerable as well. So at certain precious moments, we're really called into a deep and meaningful connection with the world of another person or another person. A magical affinity kind of arises with intimacy, in turn, that encourages a greater understanding of ourself, right? The relationship acts as a mirror, and it helps you see your own patterns. What it reflects about you can further your own personal evolution. I'll give you a personal kind of insight on this. India and I have some very similar qualities, and we have some super clashing qualities as well. And I love the fact that they love to create things and make things, but at the same time, as when I do, it can make a mess. They love making kombucha and all of that, and then the fruit and stuff can lay around, but they've been, you know, pretty generous at cleaning up and taking care of the majority of that space. But I myself am guilty of this, and it mirrors back to me. What about, Melanie, when you leave everything on the dining room table, or you leave plates everywhere? Nobody else likes that. So in turn, they are showing me behaviors in myself that are not that well liked by other people too. Like, Ian does the lion's share of housework, dishes, laundry, all of his stuff, as well as having 2 full-time companies that he runs himself. And sometimes I feel aggravated when I have to stop and do a dish, and then I'm like, are you for real? What is the reality in this situation? Then, and also cooking and everything too. So it's one of those things that all these things are mirrored back, and it's very helpful as a learning curve and our own personal evolution. So now is really the time to take a risk by connecting with another person. Do you see how far you've come? Can you see what is still active within you that needs to change or heal? You'll discover more about who you are as you discover more about another person. I do this sometimes with people that I used to work with. I'd watch a behavior and think that's kind of unsavory, or I will watch a client, like I remember just being at the coffee counter and everybody talking, and I always felt like too much personal information that you dump on somebody that is just like a client that comes in is not usually well received, because people are always coping with their own lives. So it's one of those things that people like to be asked about themselves so they can talk, and while they're doing that, they're patient and happy to wait. So if you have a lengthy order, people are like, oh well, I'm just chatting about myself, I love this, I'll stay here all day. Like, I would learn all these tricks and watch Faina, because I was like, why is Faina always asking him about, do you have pets or do you have? And I thought, oh my gosh, it is a kind of beautiful social trick that now they're busy with their own happy thoughts, and you're able to conduct business at a slower pace. So little things like that. So even if you can't possibly know what it's truly like to be in someone else's shoes, you can listen and learn. This is a magical gift being offered to you right now. So this concept applies beyond romantic connections. What do the dynamics in closest friendships, work relationships, and family say about you right now? Relationships are extraordinary opportunities for healing. When predicated on honesty and caring, they have a great impact on how you contribute to the world. So it's just imagine how deep you can go in the learning in that. So into you see, you're going to find out more and more, and this is going to help you with that too. When we are at peace with who we are and where we're going, we can achieve a great deal. So beautiful energy, Libra. I love that for you. So now we're going to go on to Aquarius. Okay, again, beautiful, sharp, fun communicators. A deep breath. This is one of my favorite cards. This is something I have to remind myself, I am a breath holder. When I'm excited, I hold my breath, or I shallow breathe. And I oftentimes do get lightheaded because I just get very excitable. But when I breathe deeply, I feel good because I calm down. It really is a calming element. So I love this because this is so important. And if you're ever in a high octane situation with somebody you don't necessarily prefer to be around or whatever, be very cognizant of your breath and take deep breaths. You'll just find yourself almost getting in a calming trance for yourself, okay? So your key concepts right now, Aquarius, are a genuine expectation of danger, projection of a threat without substance, right? This is fear. Fight or flight mode, inability to focus, trusting the universe as a way to release fear is important because, again, fight or flight. When we do that shallow breathing, we create a kind of fight or flight. So by deep breathing, we're saying nothing is wrong. There's nothing to be afraid of. Fear is just created in our head in this crazy kind of vortex where we let that Two of Swords moment kind of get to us. Like we prevaricate. And oftentimes it's one of those things. Fear comes in when we procrastinate a lot too. Like, I'm not going to get this done. So you push and push and push. More comes in. So a deep breath is saying, I'm capable of doing anything. I can do what I want when I want. I'll get to this. So fear is asking for your attention and healing right now. So you or another are operating from the position of fear. If you also see red flags, you might be headed towards a genuine danger, perhaps repeating a lesson you don't need to learn again. It could be love, it could be anything. You can honor this kind of fear by saying thank you and protect yourself by choosing another path. We are habitual creatures. We are drawn to do the same things that haven't, that haven't actually annihilated, even if it harmed us, because sometimes the known, people will choose that an unhealthy known over a healthy unknown. I am not kidding you. I'll do this. I'll say, hey, wait a minute. You spent 90 minutes mulling over all this stuff and helping people with jewelry yesterday, yet you were getting anxiety because you were sizing everybody, doing all this, and you had 10 people you were speaking to at once. Please do not do that to yourself when you wake up. And I kid you not, I went to Instagram this morning out of some weird habit and started doing the same thing, and I just stopped. And I was like, get off Instagram. You can't go immediately into work and get pressurized the moment you wake up. Stop doing that. And I stopped it. Again, I almost started doing that because I was creating a pattern. Let's get work out of the way real quick, and then we can go create and drive with Hagen and all this. And I was like, no. There is no rush. There's no hurry. All of that, it's like you can honor this kind of fear by definitely saying, thank you, I'm choosing another path. And then on the other hand, the fear, it's like the fear surrounds the idea of taking a risk. Be mindful, because radical trust and accepting the discomfort of a new something is called for us to move out of our comfort zone. And it's, it is an absolute shame. And I know this for myself too, that I like my comfort zone because I know I can get things done, but I find it just coasting. I'm not going to learn anything new. I'm not going to discover anything new about myself, talents, gifts, if I'm constantly just doing the same thing, right? That's why I'm constantly studying with, I want to hear a new psychiatrist. I want to hear new medical, mental, spiritual breakthroughs with people. So I'm not listening to the same people. I'm not doing pattern thinking and studying. I want to stretch. And it's not always comfortable because you have to put the work in, right? But that's how we get to places. That's how we diversify. Stories from the past too might be molding your expectations right now and causing fear-based or anticipated hurt, right? Don't isolate yourself or fall for the false idea that life is too painful, engaging in it, right? And, I should avoid it. No, people, places, and things are as we see them. If we see them warm and welcoming and just a fun sort of adventure, they become that. We don't have to put so much onus on everything. Just because you say yes to go out with someone or go do something doesn't mean you have to stay the entire time you're engaged or they're your best friend. You are just kind of dipping your toe in the water, right? So how about like loving that side of you that is afraid, acting out, and causing all this unnecessary commotion. You won't be happy if this small part of you controls your life. I'll tell you that much. So it'll follow you if you allow it, okay? So remember to be gentle with yourself and others. Once you let go and relax into your life, everything looks brighter and friendlier. Choose love over fear. You're going to be amazed at what you can do. I used to have weird kind of restrictions on myself, like when I'd be hired for a company and they would say, oh, we're hiring at this. And then I would noticeably see a difference in the money amount at the thing. And then they would later, just kind of have this same diatribe. Oh, well, yeah, that's going to be after 6 months, and nothing is ever made clear. And I never like to really go and impress for raises because I don't like the double talk and the runaround. Just be straight. But no manager ever is. They're trained not to do that and to push you off and think you'll forget and all of that. And you really do, that was so out of my comfort zone, but I was learning that if you really don't man up, step up and say, listen, I value myself, and if you don't buy, we have to do that in a lot of terms. That can be within relationships too. If you have somebody that's constantly insulting you, like within your family and all of that, and just nitpicking, stand up and say, listen, I don't really appreciate your little digs about whatever, my looks, my hair, my weight, whatever it is. A lot of sisters get into this and it's unpleasant and unkind. Just say that. Say, it hurts my feelings. I don't think you would like me to say those things to you, so please don't do that to me. You don't have to get like reactionary or hyper or like in their face, just express, right? But take a deep breath and know that everything is possible. All these breakthroughs are coming through and you're going to do beautifully, Aquarius. Okay, so brief pause, and then we're going to go on to Cancer and the water signs. Water signs are amazing, soulful, mystical, emotional, perceptive, awesome. India is a Cancer. My mother was a Pisces. I have a feeling that Cherry is a Scorpio. I'm pretty sure of that. Absolutely soulful and mystical. Also highly empathic and sensitive as well. So let's start with the Cancer and see what is going on with you guys. It is what it is. Oh, I love this so much for a Cancer, because a Cancer can overthink the hell out of everything 24/7. Every kind of woulda, shoulda, coulda. So I love this so much. It is what it is. And Cola is famous for this kind of saying. We need to know this. It's the same thing as if we do what we did, we'll get what we got, right? We do the same behavior the same way, we are going to experience what we experience. It's the same thing. It is what it is. Let's just accept this flow and move on. So your key concepts are radical acceptance, engaging life on life's terms, observing circumstances and taking them at face value, recognizing and releasing resistance and denial, right? It's very easy to live in denial, but not a whole hell of a lot gets accomplished there. So what happens when you look at the world? Can you see it exactly as it is, or only as you assume it to be? A door closing isn't an invitation to take a battering ram to it. What if there's another door that will lead you to your destiny? If you can release your attachment to getting what you want, you'll be surprised at how much energy you have for more important things. Liberated from the burden of yearning, you'll have all this access to what is best for all. Can you try maybe now to accept things as they are and shift your focus and attention until that other door opens up for you? I'll give you an example. I feel like as humans, we are definitely engineered through all the commercialism to want. And I am someone that once I plan something in my mind, if I plan for the day or whatever, I kind of get hyped up and gravitate towards that, and then think I have to do it at all costs because I've told myself I'm going to do it. And I'm like, you don't necessarily have to do this right now. You can do whatever you want when you want. You don't have to go do this. Like, I'm big on that with the post office. If I have to go post things, I'm like, I have to do that first, and I'll start to get extreme about it. And I'm like, wait a minute, you don't have to do that. But it's more important when it comes to thinking we need material items to enhance our life, which we don't. And we think, oh, that car is going to make my life so good. Oh, that washing machine, that outfit, that whatever. It's not the item or the thing. It's the idea of where it's going to bring us to, or a feeling that's going to come with it, right? Why can't we feel that way right now? Why can't we feel happy and free and gorgeous right now? We don't need a new outfit for that. Very simple. It is what it is. We're chasing a feeling, not an item, right? So let's just say, okay, life's terms are what they are. For a lot of you guys, like, let's go in that category of being laid off or working from home. Let's just look at that for a minute. What is available to you? Dude, you're home and you're not with annoying people. Aren't you happy? And then you can work within those parameters and have breaks when you want. And just think of that. Every single day is a new chance to see things from a different perspective. So think of the freedoms that allows and all of that. And When you're no longer in denial about what's in front of you, you're going to be empowered to make necessary changes with respect to yourself, your attitude, and your choices. Because the irony is, the real transformation can happen once you surrender to the idea that things are exactly as they're meant to be. And they just are. That's our, as human, we're like, it should be this way. That shouldn't have happened. This, guess what? It did, and it is what it is. Now move on. Like, we've all had stages where we got hung up on something. I can't believe that happened. I was supposed to get that job. I can't believe that happened. I was supposed to marry them. I can't believe that happened. So many people have that, but guess what? It is what it is. It happened the way it was supposed to happen. Something bigger, brighter, more amazing is there for you. So when you step back with clarity and acceptance, you'll realize that life is offering you something magic. Even if circumstances send you on a temporary detour, you're going to discover the treasure that's beyond what you imagined, right? It's just one of those things. We have to accept what is. And when we're working within those parameters, we can see the potential in everything as well. So that's really beautiful. I love that energy for you, Cancer. Gorgeous. Yeah, and to relax into that. When we get, our minds are very funny, and we don't want them to be, again, that shot put, boom, it landed. I have to stay here and do this. We don't have to suffer through anything. We're more of that fluff, that bubble that gets to go to a new place and try a new way if we don't like where we are, right? So that's you, Cancer. So now we're on to Scorpio. Body and soul. I love this deck so much. And bring love into the situation. Oh, I love that. So let's see what's going on for you guys, Scorpio, in terms of body and soul, because your key concepts right now are taking care of yourself, seeing yourself as a complete package, body not separate from soul, centered in your sense of self, comfortable in your body, in your authentic identity, and physical health. So it really is extreme self-care. It's called for you when you receive this card. Answer truthfully. Are you taking care of yourself? Your first choice may be to care for others before meeting your own needs. Check in with yourself. Are you experiencing that halt? Hunger, anger, loneliness, or tiredness? This card is a signal that it's time to take a break from your current focus and get busy taking care of you, because you're worthy of this care. What simple things require your attention so you can function optimally in your world and live your best life a day at a time? Mine is definitely to make sure I'm hydrated and eating when I'm working, because I'm like, let me just finish this and then I'll eat later. And then all of a sudden I'll start to feel lightheaded, or my throat will hurt because I'm not hydrated. All of that. Lucky I have the indie machine, who is totally amazing. They're always like, do you have water? Do you take your pill? And bring me in. Like today they made this fantastic, I swear, it's like they make the perfect dietitian. It is a rice cake with peanut butter, bananas, and honey, and I felt great after that. But I just do that. I don't transition well from work to food and all of that. But ask yourself, what do you need to function optimally too? And for a lot of people, it's lack of distractions. Like, get away from what is highly distractive to you. That's why I find the outside is really nice, because then you're not looking at, oh, I should clean that or do that or feed that animal, right? Another message is how you live with authenticity right now. Can you be at ease with yourself? You doing you with pride and self-worth. Like, I don't have to be caring or providing something for somebody else to feel worthy. Let's look after self as well. Remember, you are a soul that manifests through a body, a spiritual being having a human experience. And that means you're here on purpose, even if there are days where you wonder about that. There are intentionalities to our being here now, just the way you are in this time in our collective story. You being here is important, for you're a precious being with purpose, even if it seems elusive on some days. And some days it is. Like, I've had some days where I just need to shut it all off, because my mind is constantly problem solving, and I want to be able to meet this deadline and do this and that. And I think it was yesterday where I just didn't want to go anywhere or do anything other than just be in like my bedroom space and work and be peaceful. No distractions, no driving anywhere. And it felt good, and I knew that. And I do have to honor that within myself, because I will burn myself out. And I was like, enough of that. Okay. So just know that life is really loving you. And with that in mind, your job is to do your part to make your experience a healthy one. And how you nourish your body, your mind, and your soul is directly related to how you experience your life. And it's time to put yourself first, and then everything falls beautifully into place. It does. You can't feed somebody else from an empty table. If you are tired, aggravated, or hungry, you're not going to be at your best, right? You're going to be like, hey, everybody get away from me. We know that feeling, right? So allowing yourself breadth and width and calm and nourishment so you can be your best self, for sure, Scorpio. So that's you. So now we're on to the last one, Pisces. Arguably one of my favorite signs, in that I just feel this is one of the most powerful signs out there in terms of versatility, and can get some magic done, and can take on things like just have so much what would be ultra pressure and scare the hell out of somebody else. Not a Pisces. They do it in the moment, and then afterwards they can just break out in hives, but they do it. Like, they test themselves. They are mystical. They are healing. They are super perceptive right away. I feel like a Pisces knows if your energy is whacked or off, they know it. They're just like, oh yeah, no thank you. Pisces is really beautiful. Time machine. Oh, I'm excited to find out what that's about. So a new start is coming. So, embrace this and get happy. This is a fresh turning of the page where you get to choose where you're going, who you're going with, how you're going to do this. Just one of those things where it's like, I am going to simplify, I'm going to be discerning, and I'm going to go into this new stage of life with ease and not be burdened from anything from the past. I'm going to have present moment awareness, because Time Machine is saying this is inherited patterns, this is conditioning, this is lessons already learned, cellular memory, honoring the past without being trapped there. So we rely on stories we inherit from our ancestors, from our families, our culture, the world around us. We use it to construct a map of our reality, but as we develop new stories in life, we build on those old foundations. We repair them when we can, or tear them down when we begin again. The best and most powerful traits and experiences of our ancestors are ours to integrate into our life. So you don't have to revisit their hardships or rectify their mistakes, okay? This is about, in this situation, what can I learn from those who came before me? What traits can I emulate in order to move through this challenge with wisdom? To be 100% honest, it's like I really loved, respected, and thought my mom was one of the most mystical, amazing people when she focused on that. But when she decided to just go to another land and imbibe in all kinds of things, whether it was alcohol or weed or whatever, she was not at her best. It was like she just kind of stepped out of her reality, and then she was helpful to no one. In fact, she became sort of combative and whatever. And that's one of the reasons to this day when I ever recognize, that it is never necessary for me or someone like me to ever drink or smoke weed or take drugs. It does not work with me. It frazzles my brain. It creates a different kind of persona, and it hits me right away. It just really is a terrible thing for me. And that's something that I've learned from her, and a pattern that I never want to repeat. And we read that we often follow or go the opposite direction. And that's definitely an opposite direction I have to go in from her, where I can learn from all her beauty and mysticism and stuff of that nature, and her love of nature. I can never really imbibe in any of the things she did, because it'd be for an early demise for sure for me. And it is extremely unhealthy within my family for people that use those things, and it just doesn't work. So again, that's a pattern, and that's the wisdom that I have to meet that with, because sometimes we walk blindly into traps that are set in the past. Perhaps you couldn't see that you were repeating a pattern until you were well into it. The best course of action here is to rest, practice self-compassion, and make a conscious choice to do something differently next time. Clarity will come. Remember that if you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got. History repeats itself only when you allow it. The most important thing is that you are becoming aware. You can make a different choice regarding how you respond to life right now. Yes, things can be awkward and uncomfortable as old hurts are revealed and new solutions are attempted, but this time is right for change, so keep going. Something just popped in, and this might be for your new moms, because this is something that used to happen to me when my children were small. India was always very gregarious and friendly and stuff. And oftentimes when we were in big mom groups, there were a couple children there that were very ill behaved. And lots of times I would just concede because I didn't want things going on. I would visually see something. I remember my friend Sandra, I used to love to have her come over, and her kid would wallop Indy like a mofo with pillows. And Sandra would never see that. It was really crazy. Even though she would visually see that, she just couldn't see that. And she's like, oh, I think Indy was teasing her. And say these weird things that I knew simply weren't true. And it would really bother me, but I'd be like, okay. But I really feel now that it was one of those things that I see with my eyes, I know with my gut, and I know what's going on. And if you don't care about discipline, I do. So we're going to have to take a time out. Now I would love to have the power to say that. Before I'd be like, okay, but I just have Indy come sit next to me and stay away from her. But I do know, honest to goodness, when I look back at that there was a poor energy mix between her daughter and my daughter, and it was combative, and it was just one of those things where it was like those things. But we have to pay attention. So if you are a mom, again, it's not always fun to stay up, but watch these patterns. Are you conceding to friends because you don't want to stir the pot? People get very defensive about their children, right? So really, you know, kind of speak up and say, well, let's just observe them for a minute and see what's really going on. You know, really stand up for yourself, because you don't ever want a schism or a problem within a relationship you've developed with a mother, because the children might not get on, because that's something too. Because yes, things can be awkward and uncomfortable in those situations, but people that have good energy recognize that, you know, we are not our children are not us, but we can govern the situation and learn from it too. So I feel like you have this new story right around the corner for you, Pisces, and you're going to blossom and bloom and learn these lessons. They're huge. And it's not always easy. We have to be cognizant of the fact that we're super habitual. We will do things over and over and over until they become super uncomfortable. Let's just recognize it right away. This stinks. I don't like the result of that the first time, so why the hell am I going to do that again, right? No, 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 no. If it feels heavy and bad, there's a reason for that. So now you're going to be like, I've got this. So that is you guys. Beautiful energy. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Don't forget to press like and subscribe. And all my links are down below, you guys. I'm hoping I'm able to piece this together in one video, because it's going to be a big one.